All right, welcome back, Brush Monkeys. And this month we're going to take a look at. Actually, this week I'm taking a slight deviation from um, my regular posting schedule. And I've got a backlog of videos that I've been posting from, and so this one may sound a little different than the rest of them, but hopefully uh, I'll be able to get this out by Friday, and this will be like a new thing that I'm doing. This is the May 2019 White Dwarf. See, it's a May 2019 up there. This just went on sale last Friday. It was like 2 days ago for me. By the time this gets posted, it'll have been out for about a week. But we're going to take a look at some of the stuff in here and kind of do a quick review of White Dwarf. Now, White Dwarf is a fantastic magazine. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. White Dwarf is a fantastic magazine. This is like one of the first magazines that I got when I was a kid that had to do really revolved around the miniature painting aspect of it, which I was never really into the gaming as a kid. I always painted miniatures though. And Dragon magazine was the other one that was available to me in growing up in Topeka, Kansas, and it was okay. It focused a lot more on the rules and gameplay of Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games like that. White Dwarf was the first one that really focused on tabletop games like Warhammer, and Warhammer had just recently come out. I think I got started playing Warhammer in 3rd edition. That's the rulebook I've got over there, and that's right about the time that Rogue Trader and Warhammer 40k came out, so that's just about when things have taken off. But White Dwarf, I always read White Dwarf because they always had fantastic articles on how to paint and artwork by John Blance and all these amazing things. So just opening this up, I'm just going to thumb through this and kind of take a look at what it's got. Haven't really had a whole lot of time to look it over. Looks like this one's mostly following the Eldar. It's got a whole big article on the followers of Yanid, which is the Eldar god of the dead, apparently. And they had to change up the names for a lot of the things, like Eldar are now Eldari, Dark Eldar or Drukhari now. They had to change up the names because of their failed attempts at copywriting Space Marine back a couple years ago, something like that. So they changed up the name of all their stuff to something that could be copywritten. Like instead of Space Marines now, it's Adeptus Astartes. But they got letters to the editor, and again, even in the letters to the editor, they kind of focus on the painting. This guy wants to know how the heavy metal team painted the ethereal skulls on Razarak, Arcan Steed, which is, I guess, what this thing is. And they've got a little tutorial down here on how they did the glowing skulls, all the paints they used, the glazes, washes, all that kind of stuff. And it looks pretty fantastic. And then they got readers models. You got like a 2-page spread of readers models, which are still like way better than anything I'm ever going to produce. But it gives you something to aim for. And then they get into a little article about the world building in Warhammer and how they come up with all these different scenarios and settings and rules. Then you get into the Warhammer 40k stuff. This is one thing that's kind of a peril of print media, is they've got this whole like 4-page article on Abaddon the Black, or Abaddon the Black. Don't know quite how you pronounce it, but anyway, you got this whole 4-page article on this guy, and the model looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong; it looks like an amazing article. He's huge, like you can see here. He's the size of Robert Gulliman, which he's a Primarch. He's not, so you kind of wonder why he's the same size. But I mean, he's not even a demon prince, and he's like a hell of a lot bigger than him. But he is a big, imposing figure, and it's got a lot of detail on him. They even go into how they sculpted the detail, and so that you can, as you're assembling him, there's parts that you can't see once it's assembled, but it's there anyway. And it's fantastic stuff. But the thing about this is, all of this came out online like 3 weeks ago. So this is old news almost by the time the April issue of White Dwarf came out. But, you know, it's print, and that's what happens with print. It takes a long time to put. You can see how thick this magazine is. It takes a long time to put together a magazine that big. But then they got some short stories in here, and then they got a whole bunch of articles about the Ynnari. If you had ever thought about collecting or painting these miniatures, they got all kinds of backstory on them, the whole history, their weaponry, a whole article on Yvraine, which I never thought about collecting these miniatures, but I really want that figure. She is part of a 3-part box set that also includes this guy back here, and another huge figure that I really have no interest in. I don't care about that guy. I don't care about the other big figure, but I want to paint that one because she looks fantastic. There's so much detail on her, and so much. The cat is interesting. There's a lot going on there, and I just really want to get a brush on that. It just really looks fantastic. I think it's one of their better figures in a long time. And then you got all these different rules on them. The points values for all the different figures, stratagems, tactical objectives, relics, and then you got the pictures of what their followers are supposed to look like, and some painted miniatures. And then you get into the painting aspect of it, and what the step-by-step on how they paint things. A part of me is kind of convinced that they're leaving some steps out of these, like the plume, the 4-part plume looks pretty good right there. On the figure, it looks a little different, and it's hard to see on this video because my camera quality is not the best. But it kind of looks like that in between each one of these steps is another step that they're leaving out. It's like they're jealously guarding trade secrets or something, and they kind of all come across like that. All these steps just kind of look like there should be something more there, and they're not. But then they got this whole article on kit bashing your different models, and I've got a huge bits box that has got. Let me see if I can pan the camera over there. You can see that whole bits box, with the exception of a bunch of like this whole row in the middle is all just tools and stuff, but everything else, the row above it is all 30K, the 3 rows below it are all 40K, and it's all extra parts from different kits that I hang on to just for stuff like this. If I want to make a special character that's unique to my army, I can kit bash them together from the parts that I've got in there, and all the different little bits and pieces. And I always keep the bits that are left over. Like there's always a ton of leftover bits. I've only come across, let's see, I think the Necrons was the only box set I put together that didn't have any extra parts. So I don't have any extra Necron bits that I can use for anything else. But just about everything else has come with extra parts. Here they've got kit bashing a unit of Black Templars, and then kit bashing special characters for your armies. How to do all these different Death Watch kill teams. How to do them. I've come to the conclusion that building models and painting models are two entirely different hobbies, because it's a lot of fun to build some guy that looks like this, or like these jetpack guys just look fantastic on this rubble. Looks like a little bit of scenery they modified to hold these guys up. Just looks fantastic, but building that and painting it are two entirely different things. I could spend weeks building something and then spend a couple days painting it. Here's a little article on building a miniature based on a piece of artwork and converting him so that he looks like he stepped right out of the artwork, which they did a really, really good job on that guy. Looks fantastic. And then you got an article on Matt Hudson, who's been with White Dwarf for 20 years. And all his contributions, does a big long interview of him, what issues he's worked on, his contributions to the hobby, and then a couple pages of his personal miniatures and his legions, all the stuff he's painted. Then you get into Age of Sigmar. I don't really play Age of Sigmar, but there's a nice article on rules of engagement, which in this case it says the topic of conversation in this month's article is summoning. And it's all about summoning demons, which is kind of appropriate. I just got the Realm of Chaos, Wrath, and Rapture box set, and I'll be doing a bunch of videos on those coming up. So it's kind of nice that they did an article on those demons. And then you got the Realm of Shadow, whole article on different setting for Warhammer games and the creatures that live there, different spells that come from there. Some fluff and some background for, some fluff and some background on the conflict and telling a story with the figures. And then you get into the actual conflict based on that. Some new rules for creatures, battle report. Battle report's always fun. I always read the battle reports and I kind of want to play the game. I don't want to read about somebody else playing the game. Some Warhammer, Warhammer Underworlds, Night Vault. Some new rules and stuff coming out for that. This is another. They got a new rules for Blackstone Fortress. And Blackstone Fortress is another one of those games and box sets where it just comes with a ridiculous number of figures, and they all look fantastic. They're not found anywhere else in any of the games, so it's not like just, like the blood letters that come with Wrath and Rapture. Look really fantastic. I can go buy a box of blood letters if all I want is blood letters. These guys aren't in anything but the Blackstone Fortress box set, and I may end up getting this and just making this another one that I don't put up on the website. This one's just for me. I'll do a series of videos of unboxing and putting the figures together and painting them and all that, but the finished figures probably won't go up on the Instagram. They'll just go into my personal collection. But those look really nice. Then you got some Middle-earth Middle-earth strategy battle game articles on converting trolls, converting orcs, some Necromunda rules for different stuff, some stuff coming out from the Black Library. Looks like kind of a short story here from the Black Library. A couple of them. Looks really good. And then you got some behind the scenes stuff going on in the studio and stuff coming up. Some more miniatures that look fantastic. And then preview of next month. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this every month. I noticed this one says next issue on sale 21st of June, which seems kind of late in the month for White Dwarf. It normally comes out on the first weekend of the month. Like this one, it's like the first Friday of the month was the 3rd, and that's when I bought this issue. So to wait till the 21st for the next one was kind of late in the month. So I may not do a review of next month. It's going to kind of depend on what else is in it. So anyway, that's it for the May edition of White Dwarf. Thanks for joining me. I hope you, if you like White Dwarf, if you like miniature painting, go pick that up. It's a pretty good issue. Even if you're not really into some of the stuff in it, reading some of the articles can be kind of interesting and maybe kind of get you into some of the stuff. Like I'm looking forward to reading more about the Eldar in there, so that should be interesting. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos are posted, click on subscribe. Leave a comment below on what you want to see on future videos. And be sure to visit our Patreon site, our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. The links are all in the video description below. I'll see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.